Ever since December or early January, coronavirus has been affecting our world. The virus appeared in Wuhan, China, infecting thousands of people and killing over 3,000. Since then, it has made a major spread to Italy, and the country is essentially on lockdown at this point. Coronavirus has made its way around almost the entire world, including the United States, and began taking a lot of steps of precaution over the past week. Unfortunately, I'm not here to talk about just infection numbers or sports, which was canceled across basically the entire country earlier this past week. Due to the expected origin of this virus, many people have begun to show racism and xenophobia towards people of Asian descent. This can include people who were born in America or haven't even been to China in years. These prejudices are causing many issues. Businesses run by Asian owners have taken a massive hit in profits. People are actively avoiding Asians because they are afraid of being infected, and it is also even causing violence against members of the Asian community.
Restaurants and other businesses in cities from New York to California have reported big drops in sales. We're also learning about reports of racist incidents at hotels and bullying of Asian American students. Weijia Zhang visited a struggling Chinese restaurant in New York City. Weijia, what did you learn?
Oh, good morning, Anthony. It is clear that Asian Americans are facing discrimination over a disease that does not discriminate. The CDC says Asians are not more likely to contract or spread coronavirus than anyone else. Politicians are now working to combat racism, but one restaurant owner we spoke to said the damage is done. Lam says he's lost $1.5 million and business is down around 50%.
What do you think the reason is?
The reason is because Chinese started the coronavirus, but they're just scared to get infected by Chinese people.
And they think Chinese people are at a Chinese restaurant?
Yes, yes.
And it's not just at restaurants.
You haven't heard of the coronavirus?
So what does that have to do with us?
Last month, a man posted videos on Facebook that appear to show employees at 2 hotels in Indiana turning him away.
So no Asians can stay here. Why is that? Because of the virus.
I guess it's really upsetting and it feels hurtful that people see me as a threat.
Heidi Chow was on a train in London last week with her husband and children when she noticed a man leave the empty carriage they were on to move to another one.
But because I look Chinese or from East Asia, therefore I must have the coronavirus. And so it's quite hurtful to think that people are thinking that of me when I go into a room or when I go onto public transport.
She says the same thing has happened to her a number of times in the past few weeks, with people trying to avoid her in public spaces.
The risk of me having coronavirus is the same as any other non-Chinese person in London or in the UK, because I haven't been to China in the last 2 weeks. In fact, I've only been to China probably for a day trip 25 years ago.
呢個絕對係我哋最重要嘅問題就係咁樣，開又係死，唔開又係死，等係睇點死法，死唔死係咪病菌死咧，定還是係閂門冇生意死？
It's not just in the U.S. Asians around the world have reported discrimination linked to coronavirus.
He shouted, I don't want your coronavirus in my country.
Jonathan Mock is a student from Singapore studying in London. He told the BBC he was walking down the street last week when 4 people attacked him.
Actually, such a serious problem that has plagued us for a very long time.
There's also been apparent attacks in New York City, posted on social media.
I don't want them under me. Tell them to move.
It sounds like corona is crippling businesses. It's crippling communities.
It is.
Do you think the damage is done?
The damage is already done. It's already done.
As COVID-19 spreads across the United States, so does an alarming rise in hate crimes within Asian American communities.
Why did they do that to this car? My heart just sunk.
This car vandalized in California. The language too disturbing to show you. And the Chandy family is devastated. Anna, in tears, forced to explain to her child what the racial slurs mean.
Why are they being racist to us? We don't even have the coronavirus.
This was the first time that I've ever felt I was being treated differently for being Asian.
Dylan and his family saying other non-Asian students in his class don't face the same type of treatment. The school district not responding to our requests for comment.
He actually said to me, he goes, all the other students who are coughing, they don't get sent out, but they're not Asian.
The community feels like, you know, they're fighting two diseases here.
Exactly.
The disease of corona, but also bigotry.
Yes.
And I really feel for those young kids, especially who are Americans that are being made to feel like the other.
Well, last year we did with this company about $100,000, and year to date we already did like almost $70,000 sales.
Arcadia firearm and safety owner David Liu says business is booming.
This is like a sales for my purchase for last 4 months of 2019, and this is how much we have. Just this little binder, and this is what we have for this year. All this here.
And as people in times of crisis have turned to buying guns before, some Asian Americans are doubling down, fearing not only a spreading virus, but also a rise in racism that's forcing them to take drastic measures.
Why did you decide to buy a gun right now?
For self-defense.
These are just a few of many examples that can be shown of how Asian people or people of Asian descent are being affected by the coronavirus outbreak, regardless of if they're Chinese, Japanese, Korean, or any other type of Asian descent. And also the response is a little bit scary because now people are arming themselves. This could cause even more incidents between people of Asian descent, people who are blaming them for the coronavirus outbreak, and just, that could just cause all kinds of violence that's unnecessary at this point with the facts that are on the table. And just personally, I've definitely seen some signs of Asian discrimination. I'm a frequent visitor of a popular hibachi restaurant in Tallahassee called Maury's. I was actually there on Friday night, and our party was the only one in the hibachi section. Other than that, it was completely empty. And on the way out, I made it a point to look over at the sushi side, and there was really no one over there either. So that's just another sign of discrimination, because that's a Japanese place. I mean, it's not even Chinese. So it was 7:30, 8 o'clock on a Friday night, which is pretty much prime dinner time for a lot of people. So it was very surprising to see it that empty. Typically, it's very full, and then you're almost having to wait for a table at times. And my cousin, whose audio couldn't get to work for this video, she works in the maternity ward at Tift Regional Medical Center in Tifton, Georgia. And she told me that in private, some patients have pulled her aside and asked if they can change nurses because the nurse they have is of Asian descent. That's just another way that this outbreak is affecting people, and even going to the point of their jobs and outside of the restaurant industry. People are being affected. But thankfully, government leaders are making this a point of emphasis and taking a stand to the racism that coronavirus is causing.
Let me be clear. There is no place in our country for discrimination driven by fear or misinformation. This is not something Canadians will ever stand for. In difficult times, Canadians stick up for each other and lean on each other. We check in on our neighbors and take care of our friends. We stay hopeful about the future and willing to step up to the opportunities ahead. That is who we are, and that is who we will always remain.
The rejection that this whole House demonstrates to any racism and insensitivity towards the Chinese community here, or indeed visitors here of Chinese origin, because that will not help us tackle this disease.